Right now, generative AI is a problem for illustrators and artists everywhere. It's a problem. I'm always drawn to like darker stories for some reason. I don't even really like horror films and stuff, but the aesthetic behind it is so interesting to me. The best point to tell a story in a single image is right before something happens or right after it has already happened and you see the aftermath. My name is Leon Barrett. I'm an artist illustrator specializing in acrylic, oil, and charcoal drawings, and this is The Layered Onion. One of my favorite points in art history is the Baroque period, right after the Renaissance. And it's because of that tension. They really wanted to have that drama. And I love a good dramatic piece. Caravaggio was one of my favorite artists. I loved his work. The really stark blacks with the real bright lights and dramatic lighting, and it's fantastic. I kind of want to emulate that a little bit in my work. So, and I read years ago, I never figure out who quoted this because it's probably multiple people, but the best point to tell a story in a single image is right before something happens or right after it has already happened and you see the aftermath. And that always kind of stuck with me. And I agree with him. Your mind fills in the rest of the story of what's going to happen or what has happened. And being able to tell a story in a single image, that's what makes it so powerful. And that's what I want to show. That's what I want to tell. This piece, I had just gotten done watching Friday the 13th, and I was kind of inspired by the lake monster jumping out at kids and whatnot, and what that would feel like from like a person who's witnessing it happen sort of point of view. Well, not point of view, you're under the dock at the time, so maybe not point of view, but kind of being there at the time and maybe witnessing it, even if it was like after the fact or something, like you saw it found film or something. I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of the idea of this. I wanted just three kids just hanging out at the lake and whatnot and not have any idea what is going on underneath them or what's about to happen. And I really like making pieces that are in a moment just before something dramatic happens or just after it has happened. You see the aftermath. That's kind of my favorite points, is those really tense points between the two. What I really like about this piece is every person I show it to, I get the same reaction every time. Oh, every time. It's fantastic. My favorite artists are Magic the Gathering artists or book cover artists. One of them has transitioned into gallery work. He does gallery work as well. These artists win awards in different publications for illustration as well as fine art. And the fact that you can not just be a gallery artist, but you could also be an illustrator and play both sides, that opens up a whole new field for artists. So I don't know how many artists are actually, especially artists working with imaginative realism, of seeing that is actually an option you could take. This was technically this was an experiment. I did charcoal on canvas and then sealed it and then did acrylic over the top just to see if I could do something faster. And I was inspired by this piece because my son was nice enough to bring home hand, foot, mouth disease. And I had never gotten it before. And adult diseases childhood diseases as an adult are no joke. It was awful. I was miserable for like 3 or 4 days. And that's where this piece kind of came from. I kind of felt a bit like this pustule covered guy. But I had this idea of like this extra dimensional being bringing plague upon the land and somebody who is succumbing to it at the time. I'm always drawn to like darker stories for some reason. I don't even really like horror films and stuff, but the aesthetic behind it is so interesting to me. I love Gothic architecture. I love dragons and demons and monsters and wizards and stuff like that. It's just part of I don't know, a base level, just a part of who I am. as far as the genre goes, I stumbled onto a blog, I guess, several years ago called Muddy Colors. I guess it'll be a shout out to them, I guess. But it's a whole bunch of fantasy and sci-fi illustrators that got together and just give tips. And when I was working in the graphic design industry at the phone book company, I would scroll through these forever and be like, I can't believe you can do this for a living. This is so awesome. And I kind of, as I was working through my degree, I'm like, I'm going this direction because I'm just going to. I could already see that it was happening. And I just kind of went with the current. And I started my degree around Halloween, one of my favorite times of year. Aesthetically, it's all horror and Gothic and whatnot. And knowing I needed to have a cohesive portfolio to give to art directors to get it started in the illustration field, I needed everything together. And so I just never left. And I had a ton of fun doing it. I've never had more fun painting stuff than painting that sort of genre. And so I just haven't really left. This particular piece, I had this idea of almost kind of an ultimatum. Like you have nothing to lose except that you do. You know, my wife was nice enough to model for me. And yeah, it really came together really well. And at the time I was playing a lot with extreme perspective. So, so why the hand is like so close to you and whatnot. I wanted to play with that to give a real extreme sense of depth. Figure out what it is you want to do. And I mean, it sounds simple, but just do it. But make sure you have a path, make sure you have an idea, a path going forward. Even as an artist, okay, you're going to get your degree in art. What are you going to do with it? I asked that a lot to different students and stuff that were going to school with me. They didn't know. Well, I don't really know. Maybe I'll get my MFA, or I'll do a residency, or I'll figure it out. I knew what I was doing when I went into it, but I mean, I had a lot of years to think about it, so that might be the difference there. But I think if you want to get into illustration, pick a genre, build pieces around that genre until you have a large amount of content you can show art directors and publishers and stuff. And this is what I can do. I want to do high fantasy pieces or romance pieces or whatever. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm good at. That's what they're going to hire you for. And then when you want to get into a different genre, new portfolio. There are professional illustrators that have 5 or 6 portfolios, depending on what they want to get into. So it's a lot of work up front, but it will pay off. This piece actually was just an assignment in one of my painting classes. We were tasked to do a still life with a mystery. And I had this idea of, well, I had this like plastic skull that I kind of wanted to use because painting skulls are fun. And then I started putting stuff together. The bucket is my wastebasket from my painting stuff, and I started just adding stuff to it. And I went, oh, my wife comes in and goes, it kind of looks like you're getting ready for like someone's going to go gardening or bury a body or something. And I'm like, you have any seeds? I'm going to get the shovel. And it just kind of like grew from there.
So did you set this up like a still life?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I set it up on my my drafting table and then painted it from the floor. So I had to come more of an upward angle to it. It's one of several stress relief points for me. Construction was very stressful. I ran jobs, worked long hours, and being able to come back and sit down and draw or paint or something was really just healing for me, I guess. My portrait of my dog Hondo, that was a tribute. I don't have that dog anymore, and I wanted him to hang in my hallway. So it's kind of, I get to see him every day, which is nice. And I think the genre, as dark as the world can get, my work gets darker, so it can always get worse. So it's nice being to look at it. Oh well, it's not as bad as that. So that's kind of an option, a way I go with too. But for me, mostly it's a really big stress relief from like everyday life. So I painted this painting as a kind of a tribute to an old hound I had. His name was Hondo. That's the name of the painting. Hondo was probably the smartest dog I've ever seen in my life. Like he understood time and um, object permanence. It was crazy, but I just kind of took it from a reference photo I had from him during a morning light and changed the background to more suit his personality.
Books.
Yeah, books and hardwood floors, and he's got his favorite toys down here. He's got this little weaselly thing and a ball. He loved balls, and so. But yeah, he was extremely intelligent. I wanted to make sure I give him like a really good tribute. So really educated looking background and whatnot, make him look distinguished. So
What do you think made this painting stand out?
I think it was very emotive. It has it's not just like random pet portrait 104. It was it's got emotions, got elements of like drama and stuff in it. So that's what I think is probably really what drew the judges to this particular painting. Right now, generative AI is a problem for illustrators and artists everywhere. It's a problem. But I think, I don't know if I can't speak for everybody. For me myself, I can look at an image and I can go, that looks AI. It's a little too weird. It's they call it the uncanny valley. It's so real, it's unreal. And I've had several conversations with artists and family members and whatnot about AI, and AI is an average. They take all of the work that they have fed into the machine, and then it averages out and spits out several images at once, and then you choose what you want to do from there. It doesn't create anything. It can't create anything. There's no imagination to it. And I think it's at best will become just another tool, similar to hundreds of years ago when the camera came out and artists everywhere were up in arms about photography. It just became another tool eventually. And I think that's where it'll probably end up going. Because as somebody I know put it, I now know that humans have a soul because I have seen artwork that is not made by humans and it's soulless. There's no substance to it. There's no creativity. There's no emotion to it because a machine can't do it. I think AI as a tool would be really good with idea generation. I need an image of a mushroom man tromping through the forest. Give me 50 images of it. We'll go from there. It spits out 50 images. You go, well, I kind of like the composition of that one. I like the color of that. And you can start blending the pieces into your own work or using, well, I don't like that mushroom, but I like this idea. And you can start making it and going with that to create your own piece, using it as a jump off point. I mean, we'll go ahead and steal directly from the AI itself as a prompt. Similar to what you put a prompt into an AI and it pumps out an image, you use the AI image to prompt you to making your own piece. From what I've seen in the industry, they are distancing themselves as far as possible from it, to the point where it has become very popular to film yourself making your art so you can prove that it is not AI. I think that will probably be the direction it will probably go, but due to how the AI was initially trained, I think there was some really bad stigma amongst professional illustrators and artists in the industry, at least in the fantasy and sci-fi industries, to not use it at all because it ripped off someone else's stuff. Well, we can go way, way back. Like a lot of artists, I started drawing when my coloring books were all filled up about age 5, and my mom gave me a pencil and like, draw the coffee maker. That was my first drawing. I dabbled here and there with just more of a hobby thing through high school. I was the kid who had the dragons and stuff he drew up in hanging up in his locker. From there, I still as a hobby, just past time. It was a good stress relief. I did portraits and stuff as I worked through retail, and then I started in construction, and started a career in construction, and I did that for about 10 years. Still doing art on the side, but really just a hobby. And then I do things for weird reasons a lot of the time. My boss tells me that I will be needing to go back up into Wyoming. I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah at the time, and I have to go back up into Wyoming for a really long excursion at a power plant there. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to Wyoming. It was a miserable job. I want to go register for school. So I did that instead. And I'm like, well, what do I want to do? Well, I was thinking, I spent about a week thinking about what I wanted to do to get my degree in. And I'm like, what did I want to do when I was 5? I wanted to be an artist. That was one of my first memories, with my teacher asking me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a police officer. My mom was like, no, you don't. Like, I want to be an artist. My mom's like, that's better. So I started at the community college getting my degree through that. And when my work schedule started to conflict with my school schedule, I quit my job in construction and got a job as a graphic designer for a phone book company. Started doing art as a profession for a massive pay cut. It was hard. It was really hard. I got roommates for the first time in 10 years. And then when they all moved away, I had to get different roommates and became an official landlord, and I hated it. But it got me through until I met my wife, pretty much. And we moved from Salt Lake City to Washington State. I finished my associates there. Her job didn't pan out there, so we moved to Wisconsin. And I needed to get us back on our feet, so I started back into construction again because it was easy. I go sign up for the union. Worked there for 5 years. My son was born, and my boss couldn't keep me on a regular schedule. And so I had to quit that and in order to take care of my son. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? My wife's, why don't you go back to school? Finish your degree. You've been wanting to do it for 25 years. Finish your degree. Okay. So that's what I did. I have another one, more fantasy based, is based on a character I was playing, and I'm about to totally nerd out, but it's off a Dungeons and Dragons game I was playing of a warlock discovering his patron while his patron was discovering him. So he's discovering this shield in some ruins while this extra dimensional creature is looking down from the sky down at him at the same time. The charcoal piece of that is done, and actually will be hanging up at the Baroque gallery. We're very excited about that. Yeah. And eventually that one will be transitioned into a full color illustration oil painting. Definitely tell my younger self, get into it earlier. Don't wait 15 years. The amount of progress that I have made over the years, just dabbling in it, is nowhere near the progress I've made in my skills and techniques and stuff in the past 3. My piece, titled Ancient Discovery, a large 30 by 40 charcoal piece, will be showing at the Baroque Gallery here in Madison during the month of February, starting on the 1st. You can find my work at www.leonbarrettillustration.com. My name is Leon Barrett, and this has been The Layered Onion.